said you made sandwiches for the week. How does that work?
Stand up.
Hello, my friends, and are you in for a very special treat on today's program? It's a special production of Stand Up with Pete Dominic. It's Stand Up presents the Ladies of The Hue, the name that I forget which one member of The Hue came up with it. Maybe Francis? Someone will correct me. But very excited to have Karen, Kimberly, Vicky, and Francis back on the program. We had a great discussion. We've done this 5 times before. I'll include a link to all those previous episodes where I've learned so much from the ladies, and I've met all of them through hosting this show. They're listeners who live in different parts of the country. There's a few years between each of them age-wise. They grew up, obviously, differently, and they have varying perspectives on all kinds of issues, proving that point that you often hear when talking about race in America, that being black is not monolithic in terms of thinking, much less lived experience. But they're all brilliant in their own ways and have a lot of strong, thoughtful, informed opinions on the issues that we're talking about, both the serious ones, and they're all hilarious and awesome in this format when talking about the less serious ones. And I think there's always a place to hear from folks who aren't professional pundits or scholars or journalists on the subjects. Arguably, obviously, Kimberly works in government and has a lot of lived experience when it comes to that and politics in general. But putting them all together like this, I feel like gives a great perspective on what their lived experience is, and they all take in a ton of information from experts across a wide array of subjects, so they're very well informed on all these issues, and that's why one reason I love hearing from them, on them, and think it's important that we all do. I adore each and every one of these women. I respect them. I trust them. I know them pretty well. And I'm always happy and honored and thoroughly enjoy when I get to hang out with them this way or anyway. We had a lot of laughs in the first half of today's conversation. We did about 30 minutes on holiday and seasonal subjects like their feelings on pumpkin and leaves, raking them, and childhood memories about autumn. We talked about when the holiday season officially begins, when you can put up your tree, and of course, daylight savings. We are headed into the darkness, how they cope with that and think about that, and spent a good amount of time attacking Kimberly, who we found out makes the week's lunches ahead of time. You'll see, it's pretty wonderful. What's very impressive is the staunch defense of the habit pattern and way of life that Kimberly stands by. Really funny, lots of fun in that first half of the conversation, and then it got more serious when we talked about politics and the presidential election and the new Speaker of the House and more. I always love these conversations. Many of you have been asking the Ladies of The Hue to come back and join us soon. Well, here they are. Go listen to all the episodes that are linked to in the show notes, and let's do it right now.
Karen, Vicky, Kimberly, and Francis, like a fully melanated real-life version of Sisterhood of Traveling Pantses. But they're wearing their own clothes, and the magic is their own. When they get together, their bond grows, and they know no one is alone. Speaking words of wisdom, bringing the herd to his dome. Everybody sit down, buckle up and take a listen. You can learn more from these women than the endless throne of droves of politicians. My best advice to you is to listen, really listen to the Ladies of The Hue.
Oh, yeah, you wanted them back. It's been way too long. Thank you to Garrett Sever for this wonderful song. They are back. Karen, Kimberly, Vicky, and Francis, thank you all for joining me again. I am very honored to be here with you and taping this conversation. Let's get it started by checking in, and it's a how are you and where are your thoughts on pumpkin anything? I'm going to start with you, Karen, because we just get right into it.
Get right into it. I can do pumpkin seed. I'm doing all right. I can do pumpkin seeds and maybe like a pumpkin dessert or something with a cream cheese frosting. But pumpkin spice latte is a no for me, dog.
Okay, so it sounds like maybe a dessert, the seeds themselves, yep. But you will not have a drink. What about a pumpkin, anything else? A pumpkin beer or a pumpkin, I don't know.
No, absolutely not. I don't drink beer.
Fair enough. Let's go to Vicky then. And Vicky, how are you? It's great to see you. Say hi to the folks, and by way of telling us your thoughts on pumpkin, anything. I bet you'll probably destroy a pumpkin in this answer.
Pumpkins are for carving up for Halloween, and we're pretty much, although I do like the seeds, but other than that, no. Pass.
They're decorative. They're not to be eaten. They're decorative.
Yeah.
So if someone offers you a slice of pumpkin pie, you... I'm having stomach issues. Oh. Kimberly, your thoughts on pumpkin anything? Great to see you. Are you city managing right now?
No, my city manager, I think, left. It's 5 o'clock. Oh, he's probably in his office. City council's tomorrow. Pumpkin. So of course, as I always share, I'm in Central Illinois, but what is a very fun fact is that our next door neighbor down the road, Morton, Illinois, is known as the pumpkin capital of the world because 85% of the world's canned pumpkin is packaged in that community.
Wow.
At their Nestle plant.
Wow. Okay. That's a very interesting fun fact about, and do you yourself, being so central to the pumpkin supply, partake in the pumpkin? I do.
Dealer, since it's close.
I am not. In fact, I've never stepped one foot into Morton, but which is about right. And I actually told that to the economic development person there that I'd never stepped foot in Morton. So she invited me next year to their pumpkin fest. And I was like, okay. But I don't like pumpkin pie because it's sweet potato pie. That's what actually people should be celebrating, but we don't. So I have to tell you though, the Starbucks has a pumpkin spice, like a pumpkin spice latte. No, not the latte. It's a chai latte. It's a pumpkin cream chai latte. You're turning off a lot of the other folks on the panel. And it was somewhat delicious, I have to say. It wasn't pumpkin spice. It was the chai. So the chai kind of offsets the pumpkin. Oh, well, you seem very kind of open-minded about it. Hello, Francis, you'll get the last word on all things pumpkin. And it's great to see you. And we're very happy always to have you here. How are you? And what are your thoughts on the Devil's Gourd?
What's with the hey? That's like a leading question. Sounds like it. I'm doing all right. Taking a nice little break from work right now to hang out with you lovely people. Oh, but as far as pumpkins are concerned, hey, I'm totally a part of the pumpkin lobby. Yeah. I'm down for it all. I do not do pumpkin spice lattes. There's no need to do all of that. Plus, it's super sugary when you get it from Starbucks. Mm-hmm. I still don't understand eating the seeds. Y'all keep talking about the seeds thing, but aren't those don't they get kind of gritty and fibrous and stuff? Can you just eat it and it just goes down? It's not something that's like rubbing through your innards and dehydrated. You usually eat them dehydrated. Yeah. You don't have to have and then they just melt when you eat them, or is it still just chew them? How many chews would you say takes for you to actually swallow?
Well, girl, please.
A pumpkin seed 5. I'm serious, because every time
I eat a vacuum cleaner, so probably not many chews, but Pete would probably swallow them whole. Yeah. But
how many chews does it take to get to the?
If you get them out when you carve a pumpkin, you clean them off. Yeah. You roast them, put a little olive oil and salt on them.
Yeah, they're crispy. They're like popcorn. To be fair, it is a fair question. I actually have a gizzard, so it's a little easier for me. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway.
Do you like gizzards?
No.
I do not.
Just asking.
I do not. I bet.
Some do.
I bet. Yeah, she raised her hand. Well, we're not going to do gizzards during this conversation. Do any of you have any, this is free for all, childhood memories, autumn-based childhood memories? Did we all have a pile of leaves that we jumped in, and did something change when we became adults with our kids or with us, which said, I'd love to jump in that pile of leaves, but ticks and stuff? Go ahead, Vicky. You seemed really opposed. Did they have leaves when you were younger, Vicky?
Of course they had leaves. But the leaf, jumping in them and getting them in your hair is a thing. So no. Okay. I'm not doing that. Yeah. But my brothers would have leaf fights with the neighbors, and then they'd all have to clean back up. But yeah, no.
not your thing. Vicky,
it's fun to watch.
Kimberly, you are a homeowner now, and I would ask you if you are having a hard time cleaning up your leaves, but we all know that you very publicly took down every tree on your property, like the Lorax.
No, I still have a tree.
Oh.
It's in the front yard, so thank you very much. And it's been dropping leaves like crazy. But I have to tell you, growing up when my parents moved to the suburbs and we had trees that were on the public right of way, I had to pick up all the leaves. And my mom and I were discussing that over the weekend because I told her, it's like, man, I have a routine of how I pick the leaves up. I learned it as a technique as a kid because we had 9, 10 trees on our property.
Unbelievable.
And now my parents only have 2 trees on their property.
Well, I don't know.
So you know what a generational. Yeah, they live in the same house. Yeah.
Karen, Francis, anything about leaves, autumn at all that you want to share with everybody listening about what it means to you? Get nostalgic about your childhood autumn. Did you watch The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown? No.
No, on the leaves. Autumn, it was still soccer season when I was a kid, so my life was more about that than jumping in leaves.
Mm-hmm.
And as a matter of fact, watched The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown on the other day on Halloween, on actual Halloween.
Oh, that's great! I love that you did that. Yeah, I watch it every year. I absolutely, it really speaks to me, those watercolor sunsets that Charles Schulz, he was a good man. I think Charles Schulz was a good man. Okay, so what about the other question that people are debating around?
Francis, what did you do with leaves?
It felt like she was shaking her head. Sorry, Francis, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, because it's gross now, once you get older and everything. Yeah. But when I was a kid, of course, I was jumping in those leaves.
Yeah.
It's just nasty thinking about it now.
I don't think we had those kind of trees, though. I don't feel like I had those kind of trees in my yard.
Ones with leaves?
Like oak trees?
The ones you hop in.
You grew up in the Northeast. What did you have?
What kind of leaves did you have?
I don't think it was that, because I don't remember raking leaves. So we must not have had big ones. I feel like we had like evergreenish.
Wow.
Oh, like the pine needles?
Yeah, she was just coniferous. She just had she doesn't have memories of leaves, just needles. That says a lot.
What kind of needles?
Okay, well, then let's weigh in on the most important question America is debating, and the rest of the world, I think, really, which is when does the holiday season start? It seems like it starts earlier and earlier. Maybe the older we get, or the worse capitalism gets, or whatever. I don't know, because everybody wants to sell stuff. But it does seem, I just speak for myself, like I've gotten more in the holiday spirit as the years go on. I'm kind of enjoying with the holiday music and things around it. But Mariah Carey determined the holiday season has begun the day after Halloween, November 1st. Vicky says no.
Absolutely not.
Go ahead. Make the case.
Love Thanksgiving. And the reason I love Thanksgiving, it is just about gathering. It's just about spending time with the people you love, having some good food, playing some games, laughing, and all that. And there's none of the pressure of Christmas. And I don't know if anybody else feels the way I do. Have you ever given a bad gift? It's something that you spent a lot of time thinking about, and you thought, oh my God, she's going to love this. And when you give it to them, and then they go, do you have the gift receipt?
That's a really great point about the holiday. Thanksgiving is about getting together, and it sounds like you like people. And then the other thing is that there's no pressure about the gift giving. That's a very good point. And we fast forward, we plow right through it to get to Christmas. I did say the holiday season, but I was certainly implying Christmas related stuff. Francis?
What? Because we're talking about the Christmas stuff. I don't know. One shout out is to Rosalind. So on Facebook, the second the summer started to wean down, she already posted things heading into fall. And I was like, it's still summer. It's still hot outside. Let's pull back a little bit. So then we get Halloween the other day, and she's already like, let's go Christmas. I was like, pump the brakes. Let's go through each of the seasons. Let's go through each of the holidays one by one. I'm like, time goes too fast. Too fast. But also shout out because I keep seeing her. So I'm like, I can't wait to see what she does after Thanksgiving. It'll be like, let's go spring.
By the way, so great on a panel, except for when you call on her and she says, what?
You can edit it.
No way.
You're going to keep that in. I've heard you do that.
What about Karen and Kimberly? How do you feel about also, in addition, all the things you walk into, especially I feel like drugstores, CVS, Rite Aid, whatever, and they have all the Halloween stuff's moving out, the Christmas stuff is moving in. I mean, how do we feel about that as well?
Too soon.
Yeah.
Give me a minute. Like, I might not even know that it's November yet until, I actually open up my work iPad, And then all of a sudden you're in CVS and they're already putting up all the Christmas stuff the day after Halloween. It's just too much.
Now, Kimberly, I want to call on last because she said earlier she has already decorated for Christmas. So she is.
No, I didn't. You lie.
Wow. Take it easy. Congressman Jeff, what's his name? The guy that yelled that? Damn it.
Joe Wilson?
Well done, Francis. South Carolina, Joe Wilson. Yes, you just Joe Wilson to me at State of the Union. I thought you said you'd been decorating for Christmas.
No, I said I got a Christmas tree. I didn't say that Christmas tree was unpacked. It's still in the box. So I purchased, October 20th is the official start of the Christmas season. And October 31st, we had our first brush with snow. So we are fully now engaged in the winter season. So I would say October 20th. And why October 20th, you may say? Because that is the first night that Hallmark starts their countdown to Christmas. Oh. And I watch every Hallmark movie for the holidays.
Okay. Now, if there's something I like about the holiday season and you can give it to me early, is the Hallmark movies. Yes. You're right, Kimberly.
They filmed one here. They just filmed one this year at Biltmore.
Oh, that's so fun.
Were you in it?
Yeah.
No.
You were an extra? Did you try to be an extra?
Biltmore is so expensive. Nah.
My friends just went.
It's so pricey. It's like $400. Easy.
Yes.
That's a nice. That's an old aristocratic castle in North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Brought to you by, what's the dude's name? Anderson Cooper? Or is it Cooper? Anderson Cooper? It's his family. He's a part of the Vanderbilt.
The Vanderbilts.
Vanderbilts. Yeah. Did not know that.
Very nice.
Oh.
He's one of them. That's how I initially started the holidays. And this is the first tree I've purchased in 20 years. Because the last tree I purchased was when I was in grad school. And I would say it's in the box. So my idea is that this year, I may take out the box this year. And then next year, I might put some ornament. Like every year you build it, right? It's not. So the fact that I purchased it was like a big step because last year it was a lot of ideation. Like, I should get a tree. And I kept saying, no, maybe not. And then this year I just did it. And I did it. And now the tree's in my house. Now, can't say if it's going to be unpacked this year, but it's in my house.
Every year it's a little. I fear for that tree. I feel like as soon as you put it up, you're going to see it and then chop it down. I worry.
It's fake.
Oh, all right. Well, she just walks in a room. She's like, how'd that tree get in here? So I feel like there should be a hard rule about the tree, Vicky, that does not go up until earliest day after Thanksgiving.
My tree goes up the day after Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So we do Thanksgiving. We have our leftovers. And then when my nieces and nephews were young, they would spend the night at my house. And then we'd get up the next day, have breakfast, and spend the day listening to Christmas music and decorating the tree.
That sounds like a fun day.
Yeah.
I agree. Vicky, that's the same tradition. It goes up the day after Thanksgiving in my parents' house, and it comes down New Year's Day.
Yep. Same.
Are we all going to have music in the home and even maybe at work and maybe even the car? And if so, is there, everybody's shaking their head. Yes, it would seem. And does that go pretty consistently throughout?
You're the only person who has an issue with Christmas music.
Well,
it's music.
I like Christmas music. I'm not sure why you're saying that. I like it.
It's music, Pete. You're not a person. So
I don't.
You're cleaning the house.
I don't like some of the artists that you might like, but I like.
That's inconsequential. When you're cleaning the house, do you listen to music while you're cleaning?
Yes.
No, you don't. You are lying.
I listen to music. I just can't talk about it and I don't understand it.
you know what? I really want to say something very snarky right now.
Say it.
I feel like you like music as much as you like soap on your legs.
That is not fair. It came out recently that I don't wash my legs and that I just let the soap go down my body. And unless the legs are themselves dirty. And yeah, it was a deep cut because some of the people here didn't know about that. And that was like
we've talked about
that was a Hangout exclusive. And now everybody knows I don't wash my legs, but it's not true. And it's not a fair analogy. So the music starts and you're off to the races off to the holidays. Everybody's in agreement day after Thanksgiving. Because for all this, it all makes sense. I mean, there's no reason to wait at that point. Plus you got people there, put the tree up, decorate, and let's go. All right. Okay. So are we feeling it's mid-November and there's a lot happening in the world. It's getting dark early as per yesterday. We're headed into the darkness. I feel like being conscious of that, the older I get, is better. To just see it coming and be in it and know about how long it lasts. And I want to know how you guys deal with the dark, cold winter and how it affects you. Frances, you seem to be quite animated by all of this time of year.
It's driving me crazy. So I almost feel like Superman most of the time, but that's really because I take a lot of my energy from the sun, like Superman. And kryptonite's my only like weakness, but when it comes to this time of year, like the fact that the sun is going down, my house is in the corner. So we just don't get sun like until maybe April really hitting my house. And so my place gets really cold and it's just really depressing. And so I don't know if it's because I'm getting older that seasonal thing is really hitting harder. And so you're saying that you prepare for it. So the one way I tried to prepare was to get one of those sun lamps last week.
Yeah.
I was like, maybe this will help me get up in the morning when I got to go to the gym and everything. And the thing didn't even come on. So I was like, all right, we're taking you back. I can't. It didn't even work. But I'm curious if anybody has tried one of those sun lamps to like invigorate you, give you a little bit more of that oomph to go.
That's a good idea, though.
Yeah, I haven't tried it. My girlfriend has used it for years and she swears by it. But I haven't.
I don't need it. I live in darkness. So
you're Dane. Okay.
I'm just I'm living my life. I am living. I have so much energy. I'm like, this extra hour did something to me because I have been like doing, like I was out there raking them leaves. I went to the store. I made sandwiches for the week. I mean,
Kimberly is like, I don't need it. I sleep in a coffin. And then when I wake up, I just turn into a bat and fly to work.
No, I mean, here's the thing. I get up early.
Live in darkness.
I live in darkness. I get up early, so it's dark. I leave work, it's dark. I mean, at some point, it's just, I embrace the fact that I have the luxury and the privilege to experience seasons because not everyone have that luxury. And so I just prepare by embracing it, and I live in the darkness. It's like I come home, I'm going to come home tonight, and it's going to be completely dark. And I walk in, and I turn on the lights.
We know you don't have a light. She does live in the darkness. We learned that when she bought that house.
We have seen that.
You know what? I shared way too much of you all, so I'm going to mute myself.
She had an interrogation.
Because I want to ask you, you said you made sandwiches for the week. How does that work?
So I purchased like a bunch of, like I went to Costco. Can I say that? Am I allowed to use this? So I went to Costco yesterday, purchased some bread, got some cheese, got the meat, the lettuce, tomato, all the spread. And then I cut up the bread, toast it. And then I spread the spread on the sandwich. I make the sandwich and then I wrap it real tight and I put it in the refrigerator, and it's delicious.
So your Friday sandwich is in your refrigerator already made?
We're off Friday, so Thursday sandwich.
So you made 4 sandwiches in advance
Yes, and it works. It's an actual method. It all depends. Here's the thing. You have to get the right bread, and then you wrap it. It's a way that you wrap the sandwiches to keep them fresh.
You never know what's going to happen here on The Hue. You try to throw out a few topics and, but somebody always throws something in there so deeply offensive. And right now we found it because Francis, hold on, Kimberly. A lot of people want to react to your sogwiches. There's no possible. She said she toasts the bread. I love toasted bread on my sandwich. Love it because it's toasty and crispy right away. What I don't love is later toast.
Milk toast.
No, you lightly toast. You toast it for a reason.
He said she put lettuce.
It's an actually method.
She puts.
But wait, you didn't ask me what the spread is.
It doesn't matter.
Oh, okay, what's the spread?
The spread
is it waterproof?
Cellophane?
Is it shellac?
Water soluble?
No. But here's the thing: if you have the right bread, it can, and you wrap it tight.
Is it deck stain?
I'm gonna tell you know what? Thursday night, I'm gonna save my sandwich for Thursday night, and you're gonna see it, and you're gonna be like, "That sounds like you just made it this morning." I'm like, and I didn't. I made it Sunday night, and it's damn delicious.
You did not put lettuce on Monday and eat it on Thursday.
Yeah, but it's all about how you wrap it. You guys don't know how to make food. I don't know what you talk about.
Okay, well, we'll let the audience decide what kind of a monster you are. But it sounds I will give it to you. Like, it sounds like she's organized. I appreciate you picking up on that, Vicky. But it also sounds like a soggy.
It sounds very, very soggy.
Yeah.
And the bread doesn't get soggy.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know what kind of bread or how you wrap it.
It's sourdough, and then you cut it, and then you put it in the oven.
Are your slices this thick?
Very small
about
pieces.
An inch.
Yeah.
No, about an inch. So that's pretty thick for a slice of bread.
Is every sandwich?
It's like this big.
Is every sandwich the same? You eat the same sandwich?
Yeah, I mean, it's like an assembly, and I just make an assembly, and then I put my bacon on it. Yeah. You know what? I feel judgment.
Yeah,
yes,
you
bacon.
should.
I'm concerned for soggy bread. That's my concern. I don't like soggy bread, and it just in my head I can't get past it not being soggy.
Yeah,
unless the sourdough was like freshly baked,
right?
And you're using
it was
outside
baked that day
as the inside, maybe.
The bread was baked that day because it was hot when I got it from Costco, because I went to Costco right when it opened. Yeah. So the bread was still warm, but I let it cool off, sliced it with a bread knife, put it into the toast it lightly, put the spread on. I've been doing this for years, y'all.
What's the spread?
It's the artichoke dip.
Wow.
That is a moist soft sandwich. Has anybody else tried this to just let you know what you're actually eating?
It's
for years.
Okay.
I rest my case.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
I'm so weak.
What do you make? Do you make your dinners all at once, too?
I'm sorry?
Do you have an assembly line for other meals?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, God.
Work meals.
Here's the thing. You have to realize I live in darkness. So I leave. I come home. I don't want to cook.
I hear you.
So I make, like, if I have, like, a good example, last week I had my salmon. So I cooked all the salmon for the 4 days, and I had the rice, and they were all, like, ready to go. So when I go home, pop it in, quickly warm it up, and I'm good to go. Mm-hmm. I don't have to think about it. Like, it's not something I have to, and it ensures that I eat.
I feel like you're not hearing what we understand, I feel like, leftovers in general.
That's not leftovers. That's an actual meal.
Meal prep.
Meal prepping.
Meal prepping.
Meal prepping.
Yeah, I understand meal prepping. Yeah, it's just, I think that a lot of the reaction of the lunch meal had to do with just the crime that you were committed against bread. But
I'm going to take a picture of it.
Yeah.
And send it to y'all so you can see how it's wrapped.
Yeah.
So you understand that it is airtight.
Yeah. Oh, it's airtight. It's still against lettuce.
And tomato.
And a tomato.
And avocado.
Oh, that Thursday.
No, it's artichoke.
Can you imagine that Thursday tomato?
Oh, there's no tomato on it. I didn't put tomato on it. I put avocados on it.
All right. Well, geez, that is tough to follow.
How did the avocados not get brown and get you sick?
First of all, you dip it in lemon, so you're fine. And they're not ripe, so they're still like, they take a couple of days for them to get nice and ripe.
Okay, well, drinks. Are there holiday drinks that people like? Do you have a seasonal drink that you'd be like, you know what, it's autumn, I'm going to start doing my blank drink, whether it be an alcoholic beverage or just a hot drink that you enjoy in the darkness? Who wants to start there?
Francis.
How'd you know? Yeah, I'm eggnog and then apple cider. Make them alcoholic or not, I am open for both. Absolutely love them.
Okay, just on eggnog, what is the intake there? Is that a daily, a weekly? When do you drink the Santa's cream?
Gosh bless. I didn't even acknowledge. I was just saying God bless, thinking about the one that
milky, and I really don't love eggnog, but the fact that it seems like a trick, like a nostalgic, like maybe a holiday party thing. The fact that you're saying that it sounds like regularly have it for a period of time. I'm trying to understand that. Yeah,
it just depends. I mean, some years I was drinking the stuff pretty consistently, especially if you get like the Evan Williams brand. That's, a little alcoholic-y. Mm-hmm. And so that's delicious to have. But then if you get the other one that's super thick, yeah, no thanks.
I once mixed alcohol with a cream drink one time, and that was it for me. I had some real problems.
No White Russians?
Yeah, I had like an espresso with like vodka, like a martini or something, and I threw up. It wasn't good. I worry about mixing the milk cream with alcohol, but go ahead. That's fine. A lot of people like it. So anybody else have an eggnog? Does everybody drink eggnog or just Francis?
No. The last time I drank alcohol with a cream-based drink, I fell on my face in Dublin and woke up and thought I got in a fist fight.
That's very specific.
Yeah, I'm scarred. I'm scarred by that.
I understand.
I like a good Baileys, but the season for me is tea. I love tea. And right now I've been mixing different flavors together.
You drink tea only seasonally, Kimberly?
I do. I find that I don't drink tea really in the summertime. Yeah. Because iced tea is iced tea. You kind of like it, But it seemed like as soon as October comes, I have like this craving for tea.
Do you do loose leaf or bag?
I do all sorts.
Oh, wow!
Nice. I have a whole cabinet in my house just full of teas.
Shows how little I know. When she said loose leaf, I was like, "What's she talking about notebooks for?" For a second, I was like, "Oh."
I just have to. I mean, I try not to indulge too much in alcohol because it's hard when it's dark. But
the darkness, usually darkness breeds alcohol. Because
drinking in the dark becomes a problem in itself.
Just stay away from that.
There's a correlation with alcoholism in like those northern, countries, Nordic countries, because it's so dark and it feels like for a lot of people that's the time you can start drinking when the sun sets. At least that's how I justify it, and then also when the sun is up for me. Vicky, what are your thoughts on seasonal drinks, if any?
I don't have any particular seasonal drink. I am not an eggnog drinker, and I don't like the dark liquor, so. I just, I don't care.
Okay. Well, let's move on then from our seasonal subjects, which are light and airy and fun and hopefully elicit laughter and a kind of divisiveness that's enjoyable, to something more serious in the world, which is a little bit of politics. You all pay attention and have thoughts and opinions. One might argue Kimberly's works in government, so certainly has a lot of thoughts about local, much less state. But I want to just get all of your take. Just how do you think Joe Biden has been as president and Kamala Harris as vice president? Some are calling for Joe Biden to either not run, or if he's going to run, find a new running mate and get rid of Kamala Harris. But every person of color I've heard from, and then those of us who speak for them, like me and David Rothkopf, would say, if you get rid of Kamala Harris, you will lose the black vote. It's like whatever you think you're gaining, you would be losing more. And I don't know if you agree with that or not. So what are your thoughts on Biden, Francis? What are your thoughts on how he's been? I went to you first. You seem to be...
I was curious to hear from other people on if you were to switch her out, because to me, that seems detrimental, just because it looks like you're not trying to be consistent and what you had was powerful. I can't imagine another person that he could replace her with that would pull in more people's votes and not sacrifice everyone else that voted for her or enjoys her as the vice president.
Right.
So that's where I stand on that. But I am curious to hear what everybody else thinks about that.
Do you guys think that Kamala Harris has she done a good job as vice president?
Kamala Harris has been phenomenal. Yeah. And I'm so tired of folks not even looking up her record, not even taking a few minutes to even find out some of the things that she's done, and even to have the conversations around changing the ticket. So barring an accident, the ticket's not going to change. Barring something absolutely horrific happens, it's not going to change. And it's like with the stupid polls. Oh, by the way, somebody from Gallup called me, was it Friday? So I did get Gallup polled on my cell phone. But anyway.
Oh, wow. Cell phone.
She has a rotary dial cell phone, to be fair.
I did work for Ma Bell. So anyway, but I just think that it's kind of a red herring conversation to me. That it's just something to tick off and something to say, rather than actually talking about their policies and accomplishments, that people keep falling on the same dumb, in my opinion, dumb arguments about talking about his age. Well, he was the same age. He just didn't automatically fast forward into a new age. She was who she was. They've both been vetted. They've both been looked at upside down, sideways, and they've done everything they can to try to get them impeached and out of office. I just think that we and I consider myself a liberal and not necessarily a Democrat, but we as liberals have got to shore up our talking points, shore up the accomplishments that this administration has made, and also pointing out all of the accomplishments they have tried to make that got blocked by this Senate.
Yeah, great points. Kimberly and Karen, what are your thoughts on Joe Biden, Vice President Kamala Harris? By the way, she's been assigned and given things that nobody can do anything with, like immigration. It's like, it's not the executive branch job. Congress has to, very little that the executive branch can do, much less, the vice president. What is she supposed to do there? And so it's, given her problems that she doesn't have the power or ability to fix, much less Congress hasn't been able to fix for years. But Karen?
Kimberly, go first.
Oh, I was just going to say, this is a correlation with where we're at as a society right now, as a United States, because all of this started in 2020 with the assassination of George Floyd, right? And then people started to react to and seeing what they saw and the injustice of the Black community, and really leaned in to wanting to see the Americas fix its wrongs towards a Black society. And then, oh, wow, we elected a white man who elected a Black woman who is one seat away from power, and he's old. Their biggest fear is a Black woman in the White House as the president. And they have done everything And I say they because it's not a Democrat or Republican, because at the end of the day, white supremacy runs deeper than that. And look at how they have dismantled Black culture, or tried to dismantle Black culture in the mainstream. Look how they are taking education out of the school around Black history. So what have you ever heard of any person talk about the vice president as being the problem with the ticket? If Cheney's dark beater ass with no heart can stay on the ticket, consider all the atrocities that he committed, and no one ever question that, why can't this Black woman who's actually talking about issues that impact me, as in Black women's health, as in all the topics of conversation that if the Black community says, well, Biden ain't doing enough for the Black community, they ain't paying attention. And that's just it. They just as ignorant, TikTok ignorant as most of the American public are.
Oh, wow.
Did no one have a problem with Mike Pence, though? I feel like he might have had.
I think people. I think the point is two things are true. I think people have had issues with other vice presidents and talked about maybe moving them off the ticket, but not the same way. And certainly Kamala Harris hasn't been like it's true. Like Dick Cheney started a war, and it's also true that he actually does not have a human heart beating in his chest. And yet no one was like, hey, guy doesn't have a human heart. Maybe he shouldn't be on the ticket sometime around. Oh, and he invaded another country. But don't you think that started with...
But it was following suit. So in the Republican camp, when it was Bush and Cheney, it was Bush and Cheney, and they followed suit.
Yeah.
But when it came to Trump and Pence for the next election, I'm sure people were like, you probably could do a little better than Pence. Like, we could switch him out. So I don't think that discourse wasn't there for the next election.
It wasn't there. It wasn't.
Well, of course not.
But he's still a white man, right? He's still,
exactly.
He's
so you're going to get a different
white man.
Yeah.
That, but I'm just saying.
And for what they're doing to Kamala Harris, again, as 4 Black women that were sitting here, I mean, the level of scrutiny we get on our jobs is tougher than most. So never mind what somebody who is second in power is the scrutiny she's getting. And maybe in the beginning, we all heard a little rumblings. It was a little rough start, but guess what? New job. Never been vice president before. There might be some bumps in the road, but she has turned it around. And just because she's not out there just power to the people, I did this, I did that. Yeah. She is selfless in doing this for the people without bragging about it. She just gets all this heat, and it's ridiculous. But go ahead and drop her from the ticket. Yeah, it's just going to create so much turmoil, because then what would happen is we wouldn't go vote. We wouldn't vote for Trump because we're not that ridiculous. We've seen what happened under his reign of terror. But if they were to drop Kamala from the ticket, then a lot of us would stay home, and it would still create the same monstrosity.
Well, let me just ask you all about then the other. I mean, we mostly focusing, I think, here on the fact that Kamala Harris is a Black woman. But don't you think that a lot of it is she's also the first woman vice president a heartbeat away from the president? And I still feel like when we talk about female leaders in general, this country still will either say one thing publicly and not vote privately. We still don't feel ready. I feel Kimberly is shaking her head, and I'm talking about just the gender issue with American. Go ahead, Kimberly.
Intersectionality is real.
Right.
So I'm sorry. I hear you, Pete. But in this case, the woman is still Black first.
Sure.
Because the conversation that they're having ain't about her gender. The conversation that they have, no one's ever pointing out to her gender, because it's white women saying it too.
I fully agree. And I think my question was, is America ready for Gretchen Whitmer president?
Yes.
I don't think so.
Here's the thing. If they had to choose between a Nikki Haley and her, yes.
Sure. Okay. Between a Black woman president or a woman of color, Nikki Haley, and a white woman president, yeah, they're going with the white lady. I think that we all can agree on that. I'm just saying no lady at the top in terms of president. It's interesting to pick Gretchen Whitmer because Michigan has 3 women there that are very influential in their government and have been very successful. But I still feel like we're anyway.
Yeah, I agree with Kimberly about the intersectionality.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, it's far more. I think her blackness outweighs the woman part, but you can't separate it. So she's just like, well, she's hot dynamite to the people that don't like her.
Kimberly did not have a lot of patience for people who may not be paying attention to the accomplishments of the Biden administration, the Biden-Harris administration. New polling came out yesterday that says that more black folks are now looking like they would support Donald Trump and not Joe Biden. And as I mentioned to y'all before I hit record, Elie Mystal tweeted about that polling development. Not for nothing, but if all you can do is scream at the 22% of the black vote thinking of going for Trump, but not the 55% of the white vote that will go for Trump, you might be suffering from a bad case of white media. I think he nails it with a point about media. I think that's a funny point, but I still do want to ask you if you can put any anecdotal evidence to any black folks that you know, talk to, or hear from, or have any understanding of why black folks would be moving to Trump now, after knowing the man, after seeing everything he did. Is it, I mean, I can't.
Bullshit.
You don't think it's true, or you think.
Who are they talking to? Who are they talking to? Because I have not heard from any of my politically leaning friends that they've ever been asked a question, that they've ever gotten a call from Gallup, that they've ever gotten any poll, any participated in any poll. So who are these people that they're talking to?
Sounds like they just talked to Vicky.
That's one. And you know what I told them.
But you know what I mean? Like, nobody's getting phone calls. I don't even get flyers on my doorstep. You would barely know that there's an election here in the city tomorrow, because I don't even have flyers in my mailbox.
But I want to add,
they're not talking to us.
But I want to add to, remember how wrong the polling was in 2016.
I mean, I think this polling is bullshit right now.
But even even not even counting that, but just remember how desperately wrong the polling was.
Or did the polling lead to what happened?
Exactly that point.
Because people start giving up.
Right.
When you see, like, she's going to win, or we don't even need to go out, or it's not a dire need to show up.
Right. But that's why I don't personally pay attention to polls. Good. Because it's a small slice of whomever from whatever. And I never would have believed anybody like me would have gotten polled if I hadn't gotten that phone call Friday night. So.
No, I mean, I think the point Francis just made, somebody made it here, and some smart political scientists. Brian Beutler said this, I think. I think exactly what you just said, Francis, is it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. You start talking about the polling, and then the polling becomes a media narrative, and then it becomes a real thing where people start to believe a thing is happening and they buy into it and support it. But it's really all just a bullshit media narrative to create content for your television show, for your newspaper. In this case, it was the New York Times. And it's really, as I think you just said, Vicky, A, it's been wrong, and B, it's just bullshit, and it's created a media narrative. So I'm happy to dispense of it. I just wondered if anybody thought anything about black folks moving to Trump in 2023.
So here's the thing. The black folks who are moving to Trump aren't voting to begin with. And so anyone, let's just be honest. So I would say that.
Why do you say that?
Why do I say that? Because every person I've seen, they've talked to, interviewed, talking about I want to vote for Trump. If you ask them who they voted for last time, they'd be like,
yeah, I never voted.
Like, let's pull up let's pull up their voter registration. I mean, I shared with you all the article from CNN that they did with women from Michigan. And I wanted to say, but where did they find, where was the counteractive? You know, they want to be balanced. Did they find any people, women of color, who are supporters of Biden? Because here's my thing: Biden's probably the best freaking president we could have at this time in our life. Just considering the complexities of this world, we also have a unfunctioning government. right now with the House of Representatives. I mean, they couldn't even nominate and vote on a speaker. They use their own rules against themselves. I mean, that's where the governance part comes in. Biden is the head of the state. He's the head of the country. He doesn't create policy. He may put forth policy, but at the end of the day, it is the Congress. It is the Congress who actually enacts policy. It is the Congress who's about to put government employees at risk at the holidays of not having a job in the end of this year. But Biden gets the blame, even though it's not him. It is this dysfunctional Republicans who, unfortunately, because of gerrymandering and because people don't vote at the state level, have been able to now solidify a party who is batshit crazy in charge of our country. And God bless America.
How dare you? Quickly, do the three of you agree with Kimberly and what she said about Biden is the best we could get right now? You are all seemingly shaking your heads. Yeah. Do you agree with her opinion about Biden?
Oh, I do. I think that because of the complexity of everything that's going on in the world, you need somebody who is not, number one, a hothead, number two, that has some level of respect for human life and has
empathy,
right? Or empathy for the people of the world and not just power hungry. We watched Power Hungry for 4 years. And that their only interest was attaining and retaining power. And whoever got crushed in between, it didn't mean anything. It meant nothing. It meant throwing paper towels to people who are suffering.
Well said. Yeah,
I agree. I think Biden is the best president for this time right now.
Francis, Karen, you agree?
Yeah, I just think that it's. After Trump, everyone was judging on flash and personality.
Reactionaryism.
Right? That's what pulled a lot of people in for him to, as supporters. And Kimberly, Vicky, I know I'm going to assume we all agree. It's like you just needed someone solid, no flash, no nothing to him. Just he's going to put on a suit. He's going to go down from the living quarters down to his office at a reasonable hour. He's going to go for a walk, and he's not going to throw paper towels or hold back, affection when he meets somebody who's lost a child in a mass shooting.
Yeah, no, it was somebody who's not going to make it, that all about them every single day. After 4 years of that, that's what we were looking for. And we got certainly a lower key president. Francis, anything you would add?
It's just interesting, too, because they play off of his age. And we see how folks that as you get older, you hold tight on what you believe. You are not able to evolve. You're like, I'm sticking my heels in. I don't want to hear nothing you have to say. I know everything. And he's like so able to change his mind and pivot in other directions and come up with these ideas and policies. And even if he's not enacting the policies, but these things that show that he is able to go with the flow and change and admit when he might have made a mistake and things like that. And that, to me, is what makes for a great leader. And he's doing the dang thing, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, go ahead, Karen.
You brought up his age, Francis, but it's like, also, how are we talking about this? Like, we've got Father Time and Baby New Year on opposite sides of the tickets.
But just because one seems more dynamic, it drives me crazy when people talk like
Trump
that. They really act like the 4 years.
3 or 4 years apart.
Well, I mean, I think Joe Biden.
Can I just say, I literally a former manager just passed away, 101 years old, and he had his wits until the last breath. So I feel like ageism, we have really played into ageism. And I say we because it's a societal thing, because, again, it's not about party affiliation, because I hear from the folks on our side. I mean, they're talking about it. And ageism is just as important to discuss as the other isms that we deal with. And it's more important is that this person, our president, is surrounded by doctors who are watching his cognitive abilities. I recognize that there was a president who may have had declining, cognitive abilities, but no one questioned it. And so at the time, loudly, in person.
You're talking about Ronald Reagan. I think I don't remember, but the elephant in the room is I've been critical of older people running for public office. I have been. I stand by it.
Well, okay, that's fine. But here's the thing: I am not. There is a place for one to say I need to pass the baton, but in the role of the presidency, experience does matter, and we've now seen it.
No doubt about it.
And so, for me to sit here and say, "Well, I think X is better than Y because, well, why? Well, age. If age is the only reason, then you're not giving me a real reason. That's your bias."
I think I'll just say one thing about it, get your take on. I think a lot of times people hold on to power for too long. It's happening in my town. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Joe Biden.
But Joe Biden didn't hold on to power.
Nancy, he did. He kept running. He stayed. He ran for president. I think to a certain extent you could say, but a more, yeah. Go ahead.
But he ran for president.
He's holding on to power by running to be reelected at age 80. That's what I mean.
What? But every other president has ran for reelection.
Now, if they were 80.
But it doesn't matter. But that's the thing.
Say it does, but go ahead.
You said he held on to power. He did not run for president as soon as he left office as vice president.
He was going to run. He was going to.
He ran for president because there was no backbench ready to go and run against crazy Trump because we got our butts kicked and we realized we needed someone that was going to pull over Republicans to vote for Biden. Because at the end of the day, Trump crazy was going to take power again, and we needed to have
I'm absolutely not arguing that somebody else necessarily could have won. I'm not saying that Pete Buttigieg or Kamala Harris or Cory Booker or any of the other candidates would have beat Donald Trump. I do think that black folks picked Joe Biden, and I think they picked Joe Biden because they thought, as they often do, he's the only one the whites will probably Democrats vote for, thus giving us him, which is better than obviously the white supremacists, which I want to ask you about that, though. Mike, what's his name? Johnson? He is now the new Speaker of the House. I've been talking to a lot of experts on Christian nationalism, which is this pernicious belief that combines politics, government with religion. And today I interviewed a woman named Amanda Tyler from this Baptist organization that fights to keep the separation of church and state, as the Baptists always have, because, well, let's just be honest. New religions don't like government saying that only one religion can be in power, because then newer religions like Baptists and Mormons can't gain power. But the truth is that's always been the American way to keep those separate. Christian nationalism is trying to make us all believe a certain thing. I think most of you identify as somewhat religious. It's hard to describe how pious you are or your own religion, but I know none of you subscribe to the beliefs of Mike Johnson, and I'm pretty sure none of you share an app with a family member that keeps you accountability for the pornography that you may or may not watch, which is by far the craziest thing I've heard in all my years watching politics. If you haven't heard this story, go look it up. At least 3 of the 4 ladies are reacting to that. Clearly they have. But what are your thoughts on this idea of Christian nationalism? I'm talking about it a lot on the show, and I think a lot of the reason why I'm talking about it is because the primary threat is to people's lives, and specifically to people of color, immigrants, LGBT people who have traditionally been marginalized. Then it's to our rights, reproductive rights, voting rights. But first it's to the lives of. And I worry and think a lot about that. We've seen the violence. You all think, I'm sure, about it more than you'd like to. Any thoughts on Mike Johnson and this, what I'm calling like the climax of Christian nationalism, with him being elected speaker? I almost think they didn't even know who this guy was, because he is wilding.
I think that I'm Karen's accountability partner.
Wow. I did not realize you two were, but it's not porn. It's some kind of other sin. Hey, What photos did you look at today, Karen? You should.
I get notified and it's blurred out, and then I have to unblur it so I can
somebody
see just
praying.
2 women sitting.
Yeah. It's like, where's his bank account?
It's okay. The bank account.
That bugged me out this morning.
All I can envision is Mike Johnson showing up at the check cashing place with his
right, with them taking like 3 points off the top.
Government check.
He's got offshore.
Oh, wait, sir, you forgot your
shady.
43 cents.
But he bragged about his family
at the check cashing place, that he's got the chime card. These are the things that are going through my mind. Mike Johnson has a chime card.
Oh my God, I can't stand
Wow.
Oh, sorry, chime people.
That's a very insider reference.
I just feel like,
I love how I asked about Christian nationalism, the threat that it poses to black people, and you're like, what about his checking account?
but it's part of the weirdness. Part of the weirdness. But it's just like their form of religion. It's so ungodly.
Yeah.
I mean, and regardless, you've got four women who have different perspectives, different levels of whatever. Everyone does what they do. More power to them. There's choice. But like this form of Christianity,
but you're all good people.
Fascism, like I feel like I'm gonna end up being enslaved somewhere if they actually took full power, because they're gonna take all of my rights away. And next thing you know, I'm gonna be like,
Yeah,
well, I
Martha.
wouldn't be picking cotton.
You're going to be a Martha.
in the house.
A Martha.
But it's disgusting, right? It's scary.
It's scary. They're going Puritan. Like that is what they're trying to do, is throw back to the origins of America, religious freedom, my butt, but really just having everybody be Puritans, burning women at the stake, black people aren't hanging out with us. Oh, homosexuality, beat yourself. That's what people are doing, the self-flatulation.
Yep.
That's what this is. This is where they're trying to move us. And then people are not being smart enough to realize that who you vote for, locally, specifically, up to the president, this stuff matters. And they're just taking it away piece by piece by piece. It's truly scary.
But you can't get away from the weird stuff, Pete. I mean, this man, I heard you today. And as I was listening to that man's explanation of this app, this tracking app, I was like, what?
If people don't know, he described this religious-based, evangelical-based app that keeps track of what websites you go to so you don't go any to bad ones. And he said that he shares accountability with his son. I still can't believe that what I heard is the case. A, that there's an app like that. B, that, by the way, that any Republican, much less American, much less Christian, wants any oversight from technology watching their internet searches for, by the way, less harmful reasons, like stay out of my business. Don't look at my internet searches. I could search. And yet that's what this was. And the fact that he may have shared it with his son is, I can't believe, there must be some misunderstanding is my reaction to what I heard.
All I heard was grift.
Grift, right. He's just trying to sell. He doesn't use that app at all. He's just part of, right. That's a good point, maybe. Go ahead, Franz.
These people, though, you're finding these folks that are the sheer hypocrisy, right? So they're walking hypocrisy. They claim one thing, but they're living a completely different life. So when he's saying he's using an app to have his accountability, this dude is doing some wild stuff in the dark.
Yeah.
The fact that he mentioned sodomy inside of, and like last month in some speech, or it was in something that he wrote about, I'm like, why are you saying this old school word, by the way, but then saying it with such, fervor? When I hear this, I think these are the people that are, you have something that you're trying to hide and you're fighting against it so much. That movie Song of Freedom, where they came out with that one guy that was backing it, that was kidnapping kids. I'm like, anytime folks say this stuff and they preach and they go so hard about it, I'm like, yeah, you living in the dark. You're doing this stuff.
Think about his black son, who was 14 when him and his wife were newlyweds, and they brought him into his home.
I wasn't going to bring it up because at the Hangout the other night...
It sounds weird.
At the Hangout the other night, there was a lot of conspiracy theories going around that either he didn't exist or that if he did, it was some kind of inappropriate relationship. And I'm not prepared to go there on the record.
I'm not saying it's... I'm just saying it's weird. I'm not going to say inappropriate.
He wasn't married, though, and he was 25, and this kid was 14. I'm done.
It's weird.
Yeah, we don't have to be held to a standard. We're just
we don't have to
here.
say it's inappropriate. That's freaking weird.
No one considers that he is might be a superhero and needed a sidekick.
As Superman, I do not think so.
If he's a superhero, send him your Robin shirt.
That's what I was... It's his ward. All right, Kimberly, do you have anything to add about Mike Johnson?
Yeah, I'm adding that to my list of no comment.
No comment on Mike Johnson. Okay, well, you are the assistant city manager, Peoria. I can see where that could get. What about what about the app, Covenant app that keeps your account?
No comment.
Where are you on? Show us your internet history.
Who's your partner?
No comment.
Who's your partner?
No comment.
I mean, if we're honest, everyone's got a little something tucked away in their phone that would probably shock you. Maybe not a lot.
Because my phone could get FOIA'd, so I try to keep it clean.
I'm not FOIA-able, so...
I'm not for you, boo.
I might...
What is it, Karen? Please give us the subject matter that you'd be most embarrassed if we found out about.
I plead the fifth.
No comment.
Like TikTok videos, watching people pop pimples.
Oh, God.
Is that weird? Or like
that's it. That's
ingrown toenail removal. Like
no, I know what.
Like
Actually, I know a slightly unsavory thing that Karen's into, which I'm into as well. It's just kids getting hurt videos.
No, it's you, me, and Francis. I send those things to you and Francis.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, all right.
I like the ones where they fall and there's a sound effect.
Yeah, I feel like I sent one to you the other day that you were like too far because it was one where a kid bounced off of a mattress into a ceiling very hard. And you were like, you know what? Too much. That kid might have gotten really hurt. And I didn't hear from you for days.
I was driving. That's all it was.
I thank you all for joining me. It's been a solid hour of thoughtfulness, as always. People wanted the Hue. They got the Hue. I know. Also, I got a message privately from Kimberly said, you've got to wrap now. I've got sandwiches to make. So I will let you get your Monday.
No, I got to go across the street into the garage. That's, it's a haven for certain populations after in the dark.
Oh, fair enough.
Do you have mace or something?
No, I'm good. No comment. Continue. Okay.
Appreciate you always having each other's back. When I asked Karen what is the subject that she said wouldn't want us to know about, the other three ladies all nodded her. They said, no, they just all, you couldn't hear it, but you could see it here. They all said, nope, she's not going to answer. She shouldn't answer. And I appreciate the solidarity. It's very impressive.
My ladies.
And I feel like you would have all watched me walk the plank happily on that question.
We look out for you too, Pete.
I appreciate you, Pete, being present tonight, fully present, and
this is going to hurt.
Engaged, and I just thank you for the opportunity to share my thoughts tonight.
Oh,
wow!
That ended thoughtfully.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
and happy belated birthday to you, by the way.
Thank you. And thank you, ladies. I'm going to stop it there. And there's links to all of their info if you want to connect with them, or they often all hang out with us on Thursdays. You should too. Thank you, ladies.
You're welcome.
Thank you, mister.
Well, there you have it. The Ladies of the Hue. Go listen to past episodes that are linked in this one in the show notes. And thank you very much to all four of the ladies, Kimberly, Vicky, Francis, and Karen. And of course, Garrett Sever for the music of Buckets and Boards. Learn more about the ladies in the show notes as well, and support the program and the platform that we're trying to create here at Stand Up with Pete Dominic by going to patreon.com/Pete Dominic now. You guys are the best. Hope you have a great weekend, and please tell all of your friends about the Ladies of the Hue and all the conversations that we've had with them where we learned so much and, of course, have lots of laughs. John Carroll writes the music for the program, and he takes us out with our song every time. JohnCarroll.org. Go buy it now.
You've been sitting so long, you got the creaky knees, you got to stand up. Stand up. I think you're driving wheels with leaking grease. Boy, you better stand up. Stand up. they'll keep right on ignoring us if we keep sitting tight. You got to open up the window to let in some light. You gotta stand up. That's right. You got to rise up. You got to stand up. You gotta stare the devil straight in the eye. We got to let him know it's his turn to go. See it clear when all you hear is a lie. So get up off of your butt, get down off of your fence. Even if it ain't a very friendly audience, well, they'll begin to listen when you start making sense. And you stand up, stand up. No need to point your rifle to defend your town. Just stand up, stand up. You know they can't deny you what you're laying down. Oh, you better stand up, stand up. Show your face of every color, yellow, black, red, and brown. This is the place where every lost child will finally be found. There's only one thing to do before we stand our ground, and that's stand up, stand up. Well, the founding fathers saw a land for all. They had to stand up, they had to stand up. They had a keen imagination for a crystal ball, drawing all the plans of stand up. But all they had to go on was the time they were in, with other causes for laws, and since they weren't even sin, they knew that change was gonna come before the change could begin. They had to stand up. All right, they had to stand up. We got to stand up. We got to look the devil square in the eye. We gotta let him know it's his time to go, and make it clear when all we hear is a lie. Why you lying awake wondering where the money all went? It'll be the cost of freedom that'll go unspent. You can see him flee the scene of that experiment if you stand up. All right, we got to speak up. We got to reach up and raise your voice in every way you know how. Don't be toes up. You got to show up. Ain't no better time to do it but now. No need to pledge allegiance to no wanton tribe. Rise up, show obedience to the voice inside, and listen well and it'll tell you not to run and hide. It says stand up.